if you means that do it. Burger
Technical difficulties.
Welcome, humble listener, to iGod. You guys are always wondering when and how the world is going to end. But trying to predict the apocalypse is as pointless as trying to secure comprehensive fire damage insurance on a box of matches. Anything could end your world, even something as effortless as laziness. In fact, last Monday afternoon, right around 4 p.m. GMT, while I was out shoe shopping, Parallel Earth 111, a world like yours in all but name, was destroyed by the laziness of one man. A man who was less motivated than a panda at an orgy. That man was called Ian. He worked as a software writer for the world's largest sat-nav company, Dom. And as our story begins, Ian was busy doing the two things that he did best. Popping bubble wrap.
Yeah.
And punching the word boobless into a calculator. Unfortunately for him, Ian's boss, Dominic Dom, did not share the same enthusiasm for time wasting.
Well, cut to the proverbial chase, Ian. Disciplinary matter, I'm afraid. We've been monitoring your performance.
Sounds exciting.
No, it doesn't. You spent the first 20 minutes of the working day staring at a JPEG of a pig with two faces.
20 minutes? That flew by.
You then watched a video of a giraffe on roller skates being pushed down a hill.
Well, it was just so cruel.
You searched for it, Ian, for nearly 40 minutes.
And I found it. That's perseverance, isn't it?
Ian, you do realise, because of you, we had to remove the buttons 5, 3, 7, 0 and 8 from all our calculators.
Not boobless again. As I've said before, I happen to think that typing 55378008 into a calculator and turning it upside down so it spells out boobless is a fundamental human right. Boobless is soul food.
I'm afraid we're going to have to send you away, Ian.
Away? Why?
Because you have the get-up-and-go of a mollusk. In fact, you're less productive in that you don't even create pearls.
Oh, don't ever go at me. I've been mixing chalk, Tipex and boiling water together for months. I've got nothing.
We're sending you away to a little place called Camp Concentration.
Camp Concentration?
It's a boot camp for procrastinators at an army base on the coast, run by my twin brother.
I didn't know you had a twin brother.
He's a general. In fact, he's in charge of the entire British Army, but he runs these boot camp things on the side just to keep himself busy. You'll learn from him that life is no holiday.
By having a week away on the coast.
Precisely. Now, in the meantime, I suggest you get back to work. I need that new mapping update by the end of today. Bye,
So Ian spent the rest of the afternoon popping bubble wrap.
Yeah.
And at 5 minutes to 5, he dashed off the sat-nav mapping update. And having clocked up 5 minutes hard labor, he was out the door and on his way. Next morning, he set off to the camp. He made his wife Mandy drive as always. The threat of war between the Middle East, the Left East, and the Right East had dominated the news in recent weeks. The British were talking military intervention. The radio was full of it.
Officials say the threat posed by the Middle East to their neighbours, the Right East and the Left East, is imminent, with the Middle East unwilling to surrender their nuclear capability.
Boring.
I was listening to that. It's important.
Yes, and it's important that I have silence for my online poker.
Come on. Is it even for money?
No, it's not. You should count yourself lucky, Mandy, because I'm absolutely rubbish at it.
After 5 hours of driving, the sat-nav had led them to a large field.
Unless I'm very much mistaken, you should now have reached your final destination.
No, we haven't. Isn't Camp Concentration supposed to be at an army base?
The field was full of dirty cars driven by similarly bewildered drivers. A bus pulled up alongside Ian.
Any idea where we are, mate? Something wrong with the sat-nav? These dom-doms are always having glitches. Been meaning to get it replaced, but I literally can't be bothered right now.
You're going to Camp Concentration as well?
Yeah, a busload of us from UK's largest spam email supplier. Abner Global Solutions. We deliver 95% of the world's penis enlargement spam.
That's you guys.
Guilty. Anyway, my name's Abner. Abner Chopsack.
Good to meet you, Abner. My name's Ian. This is my wife, Mandy.
Ian explained that he'd been working on a mapping update for Dom Dom yesterday and had possibly muffed it, distracted as he was by a pile of bubble wrap.
So it's all your fault?
Well, it's difficult to do the maths when they've removed all the buttons for numbers 8073 and 5 from all our calculators.
Anti-boobless, huh? You know, I happen to think that boobless is a fundamental human right.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Anyway, we should probably start making tracks. Late for an anti-procrastination boot camp. How would that look?
Well, it would be expected.
Exactly. Come on.
I'll just have a look on my phone, see if we can find a route. Oh, look, you can get Wi-Fi here.
Don't do this, Ian.
Wait a second. Yeah, isn't that the army base just over that fence?
Oh, you know what? It looks like it is. The sat-nav glitch must have shifted us a few hundred metres to the left, which is why we all ended up here.
Yeah. Sorry, what did you say about broadband?
Oh, it's pretty fast, actually.
Ian, no!
Hear that, guys? We've got Wi-Fi!
You know what, Abner? I might have a quick look at a funny video or something before we go.
Please, Ian.
Yeah, no harm in that, is there? Just a, quick funny video of a gerbil in a jumpsuit.
Or maybe a man with a massive scary head playing badminton.
Ian, please, don't do this.
Oh, please, Mandy.
Fine. I'll be waiting in the car.
Yes.
This was Camp Procrastination now, and it belonged to Ian. A place where the currency was funny links to videos of confused mammals, where slackers could be slack, and goof-offs could goof off. And as night fell, the hundreds of time wasters who had been due at the boot camp exchanged examples of what the British call banter, and what the Americans more sensibly call mental illness.
What if you're a cannibal, but also vegan? Is there a gluten option for human flesh?
But what Ian and this huddle of deadbeats didn't know was that they were being watched. Watched by General Conrad Dom, Ian's boss's brother.
Looks like we got ourselves a few maggots that we need to rear us into flies. Get the big army truck ready, please, chaps.
It's probably worth mentioning that General Conrad Dom suffered from a rare neuropsychiatric disorder called American Tourette's. Plus, he was headed straight for the procrastinators in his big army truck.
I sometimes like to drive to the coast and throw a bottle into the sea containing a message saying, "Help, I'm at the bottom of the sea." I do one of those every couple of weeks. Keeps me sane.
Looks like we got some company, fellas.
Excuse me, gentlemen.
Who are you?
I am Conrad Dome, the man who was supposed to be running your slackers camp concentration sessions. You must be Ian, the bubble wrap junkie. Can you stop popping that, please, Sonny Jim?
Only when you stop putting on that rubbish American accent.
I have American Tourette's. It's a condition.
That doesn't even exist.
Now, you listen. If you sissies don't get over to the base right this second, you will all feel my size 4s in your lazy asses.
Size 4s? You have size 4 feet?
Yes, I do.
Oh, look at them. They're tiny. Have you had them bound or something?
I didn't realise they even made steel-toe cap baby booties.
Probably gets them off a G.I. Joe.
Stop laughing! I'm the one who should be laughing. I've only ever had to pay child-sized prices, you see.
Look, they're actually Velcro.
Oh, you can all go to freaking hell.
Conrad, would it be all right if I stayed at the barracks tonight? I'm freezing here.
Mandy?
Sorry, Ian, but I'm not sleeping in the car for anyone.
Mandy, no!
Come on, baby. Leave these punks. Yay, working hard. Now, drive off quickly. Come on.
Must be a sailor Clark.
I should go after Mandy.
Yeah, of course you should, Ian.
So Ian did what he did best. He played e-hockey for 7 solid hours and popped bubble wrap late into the night.
So good.
The following evening, preparations for war were underway at the army base. Ian watched on his phone as Conrad read a statement.
I am mighty confident that we can still find a diplomatic solution to the challenges we face in the Middle East.
Look, in the back of the shop, it's Mandy.
Which is why I only mentioned in passing that earlier today we took delivery of a number of mighty shiny-looking nukes and a new launching system.
So, it looks very much like the UK may be literally hours away from all-out war.
Oh, no.
I know. Sounds serious, doesn't it? War.
No, Abner, it's worse than that. Run out of battery.
My God, Ian.
That's it, Abner. No battery and no wife. And that's the last of the bubble wrap. I hate to say it, but Camp Crastination doesn't have the facilities for proper time wasting anymore. I need to get over to the base to charge my phone. Oh, and to rescue Mandy.
Okay, Ian, but first you'll need to create some kind of distraction. I have an idea.
Abner, the spam genius, bombarded the Army's email system with a video of a dog that sounded like Al Pacino. It was hilarious, and in 3 minutes 5 seconds, it gave Ian just enough time to scale the fence, run through the undergrowth, and jump through a closed window that he didn't see because it was dark. Ian found himself on the base.
Now all I need is a phone charger. Oh, and Mandy.
Fortunately, the entire British Army were distracted by a video of a dog who barked like Al Pacino. Ian crept into a large control room. It was the biggest stash of bubble wrap that he'd ever seen.
Oh, my God.
What the dim-witted doofus didn't realize was that contained within the bubble wrap was General Conrad Dom's new nuclear launching system that had been delivered earlier that day.
System activated.
And as Ian popped, he was accidentally working his way through the nuclear engagement procedure.
System engaged.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, General Conrad Dom had been on a conference call with the Middle East, the Left East, and the Right East. And with Mandy's help, he had successfully averted war.
Thank God for that, everyone. The war has been averted. Hip, hip, hooray. Mandy, I couldn't have done it without you, darling.
Oh, thanks, Conrad.
Wait a second. What in the hootin' hell is that sound? Sounds like we got ourselves a papa.
General Dom walked into the control room to find Ian standing on his head on top of a chair. He was laughing like a working-class hyena.
Ian,
Mandy.
while you've been standing on your head, we've managed to stop the war, Ian. Conrad just got off the phone with the middle, the left, and the right east.
Mandy's been great, Ian. You should be proud of her.
I may be upside down, but I see what's going on here.
System go for launch.
Conrad, isn't it dangerous that he's pushing the buttons on that nuclear weapons launcher?
Relax, baby. Let the little man do his thing. Only I have the 8-digit code launch sequence.
Launching.
What the hell? There is no damn way on earth you could have known the code.
Was it by any chance 55378008?
Yes. How did you know?
Boobless, Conrad. Boobless. Why else would I be standing on my head looking at a giant calculator?
That ain't no giant calculator. It's a nuclear launcher. Oh, my God.
The nukes were primed to launch at the Middle East. Unfortunately, the nukes were guided by Dom GPS. So instead of hitting the Middle East, Britain actually ended up decimating their own allies, the Left East. Something to do with the software glitch, apparently. The Left East fired back at Britain, but again hit the country just to the left, destroying Ireland. Ireland retaliated, but instead hit the far left east. This chain reaction continued until every country on Earth had been totally obliterated. But at that moment in time, on the army base, Ian had only one thing on his mind. For the first time in his life, he was utterly focused. He put his arms on Mandy's shoulders. He stared into her beautiful eyes, and he said,
Look, we haven't got much time, Mandy. I need to ask you something. You've got to answer me truthfully. Have you got a phone charger?
Mandy didn't, damn it. And while Parallel Earth 111 went out with a bang, it goes without saying that Ian went out with a pop.
Yes.
Good night.
iGod starred Simon Day and David Soul with Rosie Cavaliero, Alex McQueen and Dan Tetzel. It was written by Sean Gray and the producer was Simon Nichols.
Welcome, humble listener, to iGod. You know, you folks are always speculating about the end of the world. The truth is, trying to predict the end of the world is daft. As daft as a remedial hairbrush repeating third grade for the fourth time. You see, anything can end your world, even a simple lie. In fact, earlier this week, right around 4 p.m. GMT Tuesday, while I was at my dancercise class, Parallel Earth 666, a world like yours in all but name, was destroyed due to a lie told by a man with the cognitive function of a pair of knickers. That man was called Ian. Now, Ian was a man of God, a monk of the order of Saint Evenage, the patron saint of Stevenage. Today, the monastery was hosting the Pope on his state visit to Stevenage. The Pope had ordered room service, and Ian had created what he considered to be the perfect papal snack. A cheese sandwich containing no less than 16 different varieties of cheese. Cheesy enough to give Scooby-Doo a sustained angina attack. And all served on the monastery's finest solid gold platter shaped like two praying hands. Perfection.
Come. Ah, Ian, super and indeed duper. I absolutely love cheese, but I hardly ever have it because of the old dreams.
Dreams?
I once had a dream, and I woke up convinced that I should immediately beatify the hog roast pig I'd eaten the night before. We were that close to canonizing a heap of pork crackling before somebody pointed out that I'd had Stilton sauce.
You sure you should be eating that? I've put a hell of a lot of cheese in it.
Oh, absolutely. As I say, I love cheese, and this looks to me like the perfect cheese sandwich.
Oh, well, thank you. I'll be back for the platter once you've eaten.
Thank you kindly, Ian.
When Ian returned to pick up the empty platter, he found the Pope snoring like a boozed-up hippopotamus on Boxing Day afternoon. The Pope was dreaming, and in his dream, God appeared to him.
All right there, Pope. What's up, like?
Oh, my. Is that actually you?
Yeah, it's me, all right. The big cheese.
Hey, what's wrong with you? Sorry, I'm just surprised you're so...
But me.
No, I didn't mean...
No, I'm omniscient, pal. I know what you meant. I can see within our mind. Now, listen. I'm afraid I've got some bad news for you. I'm leaving.
What do you mean?
Retiring, mate. Stepping down. Carriage clock and slippers.
Oh, no, you can't do that. Literally. You exist outside time, so what good's the carriage clock?
Yeah, it was just a figure of speech, pal. The truth is, I haven't had a day off in just over 13.73 billion years. I see everything that happens. Do you know how many box sets that works out as? Sad thing is, I actually do.
Oh, dear.
By the way, you have to tell all religions that it applies to them too.
Oh, what am I supposed to say?
Now, pull yourself together.
Back in the bedroom, just as Ian was picking up the platter, the Pope let out the following noise.
Oh!
Whoa! Oh, no, that's gonna bruise.
Ian, A1 twit that he was, had just dropped the solid gold platter in the shape of two praying hands on the face of the Supreme Pontiff. As the Pope was slapped in the face by both the almighty hand of God in his dream and the almighty hand-shaped platter in the bedroom, he awoke and screamed, The first person on the scene, unsurprisingly, was Ian. After all, the jerk was already standing there. He tried his best to hide the tray.
Oh, Sanctus Spiritus above! Who could have done this to my face? It looks like a hand. Ian, are you sure you didn't drop anything on my face while I was sleeping?
Ian lied through his teeth, like he was straining the pasta of truth through his incisors.
What? No, of course not. No way.
Well, if it wasn't you, then it was God. You see, he slapped me in my dream. He was telling me to pull myself together, so he must have left a mark to know it was real. So, what's the best way to disband all religion?
What?
I must inform the heads of all world religions. I'll send a group email, and then I must address the world.
The Pope called a press conference summoning all the world's press to historic St. Evenage Square in Stevenage.
Hello, Stevenage, and indeed, hello, the world. Now, I know this is going to sound like I'm being a killjoy, but from here on in, all religion is cancelled. You see, I had this dream. I was visited by a gentleman from Birmingham.
And so it was, with just a cheese sandwich and a lie. Ian had destroyed world religion. What a ninny. As word spread around the world that the big guy had retired, people of faith didn't know what to do. Some embraced the freedom it gave them.
Without God watching, I found I can enjoy picking my nose in private.
Some widows found themselves burying their husbands hunched over in yoga positions in order to save money on coffin wood.
If I'm not going to meet him in heaven, then who cares if he's a bit cramped?
Unable to preach, some priests set up pubs where all the punters had to queue around the block for a sip of wine, one after the other. And it wasn't uncommon to see ayatollahs working at B&Q and chief rabbis working at supermarket checkouts.
Can we have a price check on our food, please, already?
Ian, meanwhile, had got a job serving fraps and caps to the great, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Unfortunately, he was as rusty as an iron seagull.
Here we go, 2 bubbly coffees.
But they ordered 2 lattes.
Are lattes the ones with the chocolate that's hot?
No, Ian, that's hot chocolate.
Oh.
It was mid-December now, and pressure was mounting on the Pope to allow Christmas to occur. The Christian Church owned the intellectual property rights to the feast, but because God had gone, they argued that it would be wrong to continue to celebrate it. People who'd always been staunch atheists were suddenly angry, dare I say, evangelical, about bringing Christmas back. With the pressure building, the Pope appeared on a current affairs program to defend himself.
What you've done is you've told ordinary believers around the world that because you had a dream, they have to abandon their beliefs.
I did what I thought was right.
Where would you draw the line? Would you ban mince pies?
Well, mince pies to me are undeniably linked with Christmas. You wouldn't eat a mince pie in April, would you?
Why not? I love mince pies.
Well, you've always got Eccles cakes.
Yeah, I don't want Eccles cakes. I want mince pies. People out there have lost their faith. They're on the streets. All they want are mince pies. They want chocolate in big tins, piles of presents, and just to get drunk for 3 or 4 days solid. There are turkeys cramped up in turkey farms, literally dying to be slaughtered. And all you do is you sit here in a peat-capped mitre and you... Frankly, you make me want to vomit my own head off.
Well, I'm very sorry to hear that.
Pope, thank you.
After the interview debacle, the Pope was in need of some serious perk. He popped into the nearest urban cafe. And who should he find there but this guy?
Hi, stranger, what can I do for you?
Ian, what the blazes are you doing here?
Well, the church disbanded, so...
No, I know. It was partially rhetorical.
What would you like?
Oh, cappuccino, please.
For what it's worth, I feel absolutely awful about it.
Oh, it's not your fault, Ian. If I didn't have this hand mark on my face, then I would have definitely just dismissed it as a dream and we'd all still be working for God.
Anyway, here's your cappuccino.
Ian's conscience nagged at him. But no, it was too late now, he thought. The world would not accept the Pope telling them that it was all a dream.
Oh, bit of an issue. I think this is a latte, not a cappuccino.
Ian had screwed up.
No, I can assure you that's cappuccino.
I hate to be a stickler, but this is definitely a latte. You can tell because the froth quotient is...
Ian had an idea. Not an actual clever idea like telling the truth, but an idea that could at least get the world at large off the Pope's back.
Do you know what that means?
That clergy make very poor baristas?
I turned a cappuccino into a latte. It's a miracle.
Not a miracle, it's poor customer service.
I performed a miracle here, today. What was frothy is now unfrothy. What was light has become creamy. What was foamy is now foamless.
What on earth are you talking about?
Come, everyone. Leave your frappuccinos and your overpriced bits of chocolate. Follow me into the street.
Ian, what are you doing?
Trust me, it's okay. This is for the best.
Ian left the coffee shop with a small group of followers, and outside he founded a new religion. He called it Ianianity. Ian basically made it up as he went along. When asked who the god of Ianianity was, Ian named it after the first thing he laid eyes on.
The god that Ianans worship, his name, his form, his very being is that...
Ian looked around for inspiration.
He's called Pigeon Coo. Yes, the god of Iananity is called Pigeon Coo.
Pigeon Coo. Wow. It's weird, there's actually a pigeon cooing just there. Where?
What is Pigeon Coo like?
Pigeon Coo is an alien.
An alien?
Yes. Turquoise alien.
Ian couldn't help himself. He even constructed his own apocalyptic myth, which borrowed heavily from a cartoon he'd watched on television that morning.
One day, Pigeon Coo will return in a huge neon pink jelly spaceship and destroy us all, and then reincarnate us all as aliens.
And with latte drinking as a central tenet of Ianity, the caffeine-fueled followers spread the word extra quickly. By Ianmas Eve that year, Ianianity had over 1 billion followers worldwide. But the pressure of running a false intergalactic religion was starting to get to Ian. Ian's dirty lies were stacking up like a house made of nudie playing cards. He feared they would soon collapse around him in a heap of boobs, with himself exposed as the biggest boob of all. He realized he needed to set the record straight. He announced an Ianmas Day festival outside the coffee shop and invited the Pope along as well.
People of the world, Ianians, Merry Ianmas. I have a confession to make to you all, and above all to you, my Pope. The truth is, the bruise on your face was not from God slapping you, but from me dropping a huge platter shaped like 2 praying hands on your face while you slept. I can only apologise.
You lied? But you were a monk.
Well, I was actually an urban cafe worker who was sent to the monastery on the witness protection scheme.
Oh, like in Sister Act.
I'm sorry, I'm a weak man. And I also have a small confession to make to all the billions of worldwide followers of my intergalactic religion, Iananity. I made it all up. I mean, really, a neon pink jelly spaceship, a god called Pigeon Coo. You guys actually believe that? What I mean to say is, the lie got out of hand. What the...
At that moment, a neon pink jello spaceship appeared in the sky above them.
Look, a neon pink jelly spaceship.
He lied to us about lying to us.
This is impossible. Honestly, I was telling the truth when I said I was lying.
Not only was it possible, but it was happening.
Someone's coming out of it.
Oh, don't tell me it's...
Greetings, Ian and fellow Ianians. I am Pigeon Coo.
Right, yeah, I thought it might be.
Is he originally from Birmingham too?
Since Ian has fulfilled the prophecy, I'm here in my neon pink jelly spaceship, and I will destroy the world and reincarnate all loyal Ianians as alien life forms.
Oh, come off it.
Ian watched in horror as the neon pink jello spaceship soared high into the sky, and as he had predicted, readied its plasmic lasers to destroy the Earth.
Fire! This is unbelievable!
So that, humble listeners, was how Parallel Earth 666 was destroyed by Ian. What's that? You don't believe me? You think the notion of a neon pink jello spaceship stretches credibility? You found it infeasible that the Pope would be such a cheese fiend? Well, that's your prerogative, of course, dear listener. You see, I'm a firm believer that some things must be and always remain a simple matter of faith. Good night, and may Pigeon Coo bless.
iGod starred Simon Day and David Soul with Rosie Cavaliero, Alex McQueen and Dan Tetzel. It was written by Sean Gray and the producer was Simon Nichols.
News at bedtime.
This is the News at Bedtime with me, John Tweedledum.
And me, Jim Tweedledee.
Now, we all know that we should be eating healthily, but we're not. Especially you, Jim.
That's unfair. This is a carrot.
A pie-shaped carrot. So, while Jim has got his mouth full, let me tell you about this special edition of News at Bedtime, which will be focusing on the nation's nutrition. Joining us later in the studio will be food campaigner Jack Spratt, who's tackling obesity amongst the nation's school children.
My slogan is, eat no fat. My wife doesn't agree, of course,
But before we speak to Mr. Spratt, we're going over live to one of the first casualties of his campaign, the Wicked Witch, whose gingerbread house faces demolition. Mary, our contrary correspondent, is in the forest. What's the situation, Mary?
Good and bad, John. Bulldozers are waiting to raze the gingerbread house to the ground, with a court order stating that the structure is essentially unhealthy and a danger to children. But the Wicked Witch is arguing that this represents an attack on her civil liberties, and she is debating the point with the contractors.
May you all contract boils. May your ears turn into those of an ass. May your hair fall out so you will all be prematurely bald.
No! Not premature hair loss! Burn the witch!
Wicked Witch, it's Mary, contrary correspondent for the News at Bedtime. If I may just have a word?
Yes, my pretty. Come closer, child.
You have to admit that nutritionally your house is way over the recommended intake of sugar, carbohydrate, E-numbers and ginger.
Oh dear, we seem to have a technical problem there. Mary has been turned into a frog. We apologise to listeners and we'll return to that story as soon as we've sorted it out. Jim?
With me now is Jack Spratt, the nation's favourite food campaigner or most annoying busybody. You decide.
Watcher.
Now, Jack, the Wicked Witch does have a point, does she not? And I am not just saying that because I don't want to be turned into a frog.
No. You want some good nutritional food in the kiddies' cake hole, not this junk rubbish.
So what would you propose?
Simple. You get courgette, bit of rocket, asparagus, your green beans, wazz it up, sprinkle of coriander, and lovely jubbly, boof, you got a vegetable house. It's fresh, made from good, healthy ingredients, and won't turn your nippers into porkers.
But let's be honest, Mr. Spratt. No children are going to be enticed into a house made entirely of fresh vegetables. It's unrealistic, isn't it?
No, it's just ignorance. Once they've tried a bit of the spinach roof, painted with a lovely oil and balsamic dressing, they'll love it.
Perhaps I could bring in a pro-gingerbread house campaigner here. The Tooth Fairy. You and Mr. Spratt have crossed swords on this issue before.
Mr. Spratt is in the pocket of the Greens lobby and he's trying to put us hard-working tooth fairies out of business. If children are not allowed to eat teeth-rotting confectionery...
Shut up!
Then there will be nothing...
Oh dear, Mr. Spratt is refusing the Tooth Fairy the right to reply by trapping her under his glass.
Don't listen to the Tooth Fairy. She doesn't even exist. Everyone knows it's your mum and dad.
I'll have to stop you there, as there have been developments back at the forest, and we can go back to Mary, our former contrary correspondent, who is now a frog.
No, I'm not. We've sorted the frog issue out, thanks, John, because luckily I've been kissed by a princess. She was a bit disappointed when I turned back into a journalist rather than a prince, but now we're thinking of a civil partnership. Nothing too fancy, just close...
Congratulations, Mary, but can we get back to the gingerbread house demolition issue?
No, but what I can tell you is that the witch has chained herself to a large stick of peppermint-flavoured rock, and I'm talking now to a spokesperson for Witch, the consumer organisation who published the magazine What Witch. How angry are your members in the witching community about this war on gingerbread?
They're absolutely furious. I mean, what kind of country is it where an evil witch is not allowed to fatten children up using a confectionery-based dwelling and then eat them? It's bad enough we've been forced to display a health warning on the side of our cauldron saying, may contain newts, but
surely, no, you are being unreasonable. It has been medically proven that some children do have a newt allergy. Apple? Oh, thank you very much.
Mary? Sorry, another technical hitch there, as it appears that Mary has gone to sleep for 1,000 years. We'll be back after this.
And coming up later on Radio 40 Winks, the return of the popular quiz show, Riddle Me Ree.
Riddle me ree, riddle me ree. So here we are again with our regular team captains, Little Boy Blue and the Weasel. You know the rules. First one to solve the riddle gets a bonus riddle. Purple, yellow, red and green, the king cannot reach it, nor yet the queen, nor can old Noll, whose power's so great. Tell me this riddle while I count to 8. So the clock starts now.
1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4, knock at the door.
Come on, I'm going to have to hurry you.
5, 6...
Weasel, you popped just in time.
Is it a rainbow?
Yes, of course it's a rainbow. Honestly, what do they teach you lot these days?
So don't miss Riddle Me Ree tomorrow on Radio 40 Winks at 6:30.
Riddle Me Ree. And they say that radio is dumbing down.
Or tweedle-dumbing down.
Point proven. You're listening to the News at Bedtime with me, John Tweedledum, and the ever-amusing Jim Tweedledee. And tonight, we're asking, how safe is our food? Joining me now in the studio is Betty Botter.
Good evening, John.
Now, Betty Botter, you bought some butter, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. I bought some butter.
But you then claimed that the butter was bitter.
Absolutely. And what concerned me was that if I put the bitter butter in my batter, then it would make my batter bitter.
So, Betty Botter, why didn't you just get some better butter to make your batter better?
That's exactly what I did. I bought a bit of butter, better than the bitter butter, and put it in the batter, and the batter was not bitter.
So you think there should be a warning on every pack of butter saying that if you want better batter, then check that your butter is not bitter?
Otherwise, this government will have a major bitter batter crisis on its hands. We need to act now.
Cause for concern there from Betty Botter. Better butter battler. Jim?
Now, is our obsession with food, our desire to find new culinary experiences, actually making us ill? It's not enough anymore to have cuds and whey on the menu or to offer customers a fishy on a little dishy. No, nowadays it has got to be more exciting. Down the line from his controversial award-winning restaurant, The Golden Goose, is top chef Cook-a-doodle-doo. Now, Cook, you're famous for wacky combinations of food, but this new dish has got you into hot water.
Oh, please.
What I'm trying to do is try and create novel taste sensations that will reinvigorate people's sense of gastronomic adventure.
But this pie you baked for the king contained 4 and 20 blackbirds.
They were free-range, locally sourced, fair trade.
And alive.
They were fresh. Very fresh.
When the pie was opened, the birds began to sing, didn't they?
Well, one of the worst things you can do with blackbirds is overcook them.
So why did health and safety close down your restaurant?
I have no idea.
Is it not because one of the live blackbirds flew off from your pie and then came down and pecked off the nose of a maid hanging out clothes in the garden?
Look, my understanding was that the maid's nose complaint was due to a mystery virus. There's no established link with the blackbirds in the pie. You might as well ban laundry or gardens. They're obviously extremely dangerous.
Thank you, Cook. Though some of our listeners may find that excuse a little hard to swallow. A bit like the pie. John?
Well, you are the expert on pies, Jim.
Are you saying I'm fat? Is that what you were saying?
No, not at all. I'm merely suggesting that if you were on a seesaw with Marjorie Daw, then there wouldn't be much actual seesawing going on.
If we are going to descend into a slanging match, perhaps I should raise the issue of the pot and the kettle.
Yeah, leave my friends out of it.
Oh, yeah!
And with the time coming up to a long, long time ago, it's Thought for the Day with Peter Rabbi.
Hello, John. Hello, Jim. You know, everyone these days goes on about healthy eating, and we all think that it's good to eat lettuce. But let me tell you a little story about my old dad. He was a vegetarian and ate nothing but lettuce. And you know what happened to him? One day, when he was in Farmer McGregor's garden, happily munching away on some lettuce, Farmer McGregor shot him. Then he gutted and skinned him before Mrs. McGregor put him in a pie, leaving me and my sisters Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail fatherless. Later we heard that Farmer McGregor had cut off one of Dad's feet and turned it into a lucky souvenir keyring. Not so lucky for him.
Food for thought there, Peter.
Very, very good.
Oh, no, don't encourage him. Next thing you'll be on Strictly Come Dance to Your Daddy, My Little Laddie. And now the news headlines with Charlotte Greengrow, the Rushes-O.
I am Charlotte Greengrow, the Rushes-O, and here are the news headlines. Jim Tweedledee is rumoured to be one of the contestants in the next series of the hit celebrity reality entertainment show Strictly Come Dance to Your Daddy, My Little Laddie. Elsewhere in the forest, Mary, the News at Bedtime's contrary correspondent, has been put to sleep for 1,000 years. But the latest reports indicate that she's been found by a group of 7 vertically challenged diamond miners and put in a glass case. Those are the headlines tonight from me, Charlotte Greengrow, the Rushes-O.
We're looking tonight at healthy eating, and I'm now joined in the studio by 2 typical kids who wander around unsupervised in the forest, Hansel and Gretel.
Yep. Cheers.
Now, as representatives of the nation's young people who get into trouble with witches, what do you make of this proposal by Jack Sprat to replace the gingerbread house with one made of vegetables? Would you be lured into a cottage made of cabbage?
As if. Like we're certainly going to do that. Not.
So if the gingerbread house is demolished, what sort of house would you replace it with?
Whatever.
Cigarette house, maybe.
Vodka shot house.
You know, weed house.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to leave the interview there, fascinating as it is. Thanks to Hansel and Gretel, and thanks to the producer for such an interesting booking.
Now, weather with Dilly Dilly from the Meteorological Office. What have you got for us tonight, Dilly Dilly?
Well, Jim, the Met Office has issued a severe weather warning, with heavy rain coming in from the west. Apparently, the worst hit area has been Gloucester, where several feet of rain have made puddles a major hazard for the emergency services. We're getting reports of a Dr. Foster who was called to Gloucester in a shower of rain, but he stepped in a puddle right up to his middle.
I don't suppose he'll be going there again.
No, never, he says. So if you're going to the Gloucester area, do watch out for puddle black spots and remember to take a brolly and a wetsuit. That's the weather tonight from me, Dilly Dilly.
Thanks, Dilly. And with the time coming up to tick-tock 40:11 by the clock, we can go back to the gingerbread house demolition site, where Mary, our contrary correspondent, is asleep for 1,000 years.
No, I'm not, Jim, because miraculously, whilst I was lying in the glass case slumbering for 1,000 years, I received mouth-to-mouth resuscitation from a passing handsome prince.
Charming?
By name, yes, but in reality, no. Having woken me up, he proceeded to fall in love with my civil partner, the princess, and they've gone off to live happily ever after.
What's all this got to do with the gingerbread house?
Nothing. Just thought the listeners might like to know. Hang on! Destruction of the gingerbread house. There it goes in a cloud of biscuit and icing sugar. I can see glacé cherries strewn on the grass. I can see broken nougat John. I can see shattered lollipops. I can see the Wicked Witch looking distraught as she's dragged away by the security ogres. Excuse me, Wicked Witch, what are you going to do now?
I'm off.
Where will you go?
Somewhere over the rainbow. I'm emigrating to Oz. Now there's a land where people are more relaxed and open-minded, and a witch can go about her business of being wicked without being snooped on and harassed by the petty-minded bureaucrats of the health and safety fascists.
Well, good luck. Let's hope you don't get squashed by a big house landing on you from Kansas.
Oh dear, we seem to have lost Mary again. Her soul has been sucked out of her and placed in a small bejewelled bottle which can only be opened with a dragon's tear. The systems engineers will be working on that to try and restore normal service. John?
Just time to look at tomorrow's papers. The Nursery Times leads with Georgie Porgy held sexual harassment charges to be brought by girls made to cry. The Daily Fairygraph has Sorcerer claims apprentice schemes are a disaster. The Daily Mirror on the Wall goes for Jack and Jill to sue over Hill accident. And the Twinkle Twinkle Daily Star has some more naked pictures of Lady Godiva on her horse. So no change there. This is me, John Tweedledum, saying good night.
And me, Jim Tweedledee, saying these jam tarts are delicious. I got them off this knave, I know.
Give us one.
Get off, they're mine. Oh!
News at bedtime.
This is the news at bedtime with me, John Tweedledum, in the studio.
And me, Jim Tweedledee, reporting live from the launch site of the Nurseryland Space Programme. It's a truly historic day, a historic moment in history. And there's an incredible atmosphere here in the field as last-minute preparations are finalised before the countdown begins to put a cow over the moon.
And we'll be getting live updates from Jim about how historic everything is as the launch window approaches.
Yes, indeed, John. In days to come, everyone will remember where they were on this epoch-making day.
I'll remember that I was in a basement studio with a cold cup of coffee introducing the sport. So here's the sport with Harry Parry.
I'm Harry Parry, and I'm talking to the controversial bad boy of athletics.
And here he comes now. He's stretching his legs and showing his class. Oh, it's another sensational win for the top long-distance runner, the Gingerbread Man. And look at that. Delight iced all over his face.
I have an exclusive interview with Ginger later in the programme.
Look forward to that, Harry. Also coming up this bedtime.
We should be proud of our boys. They had a job to do and they did it. It's very much mission accomplished.
The Grand Old Duke of York defends what many critics argue was a completely pointless march to the top of the hill with his 10,000 men. Most listeners would have imagined that this was a pretty important story, but apparently no. We have to go back to Jim Tweedledee being epoch-making at Mission Control.
Thanks, John. And as the whole world holds its breath, I'm now talking to the figure at the epicentre of today's historic lunar leap. The cow.
Hi.
Cow. As the first cow to go into space in what is a momentous moment in time, can I ask you the question that everyone on Earth wants to know? How do you go to the toilet in space?
Yeah, I get asked that quite a lot, and I always say the same thing. You don't want to be on Jupiter when I'm flying over.
No. But to be serious, Cow, what do you eat before you go into space?
I have a strict diet that's been designed by the nutritional scientists. It involves quite a lot of grass.
Fascinating. Thank you, Cow. And on behalf of all the listeners in Nurseryland, can I wish you all the luck in the world and in worlds beyond. Back to you, John, in the studio.
Yes, Jim, I am very much still here in the studio with the stale Sarnie and the Grand Old Duke of York.
Hello.
Last week saw the return of your regiment following a long campaign up the hill. You marched 10,000 men up to the top of the hill, and then you marched them down again. What was the point of that?
We achieved our tactical objectives. When we were up, we were certainly up, and when we were down, we were very much down.
What about when you were only halfway up?
Well, then we were neither up nor down.
Admit it, you launched an ill-thought-out, ill-conceived and legally dubious assault on the hill with no idea what to do once you had gained control of it.
Now, you're going too far.
A bit like your 10,000 men.
No, we had evidence that the hill posed a real threat to the security of Nurseryland, and however things have turned out, you cannot fault the professionalism and the commitment...
Are you going to resign?
No,
Are you going to apologise?
No.
Are you going to resign for not apologising? Or apologise for not resigning?
What
I want you to do something dramatic now so that it makes the news headlines.
I'm afraid I have had enough of this, and I am marching out now.
Thank you, Grand Old Duke of York.
Now I am marching back in again.
Hello, Grand Old Duke of York.
I would like to address...
Sorry, that's all we have time for now. Now, the news headlines with Peter Piperson.
Here are the headlines tonight. The Grand Old Duke of York has refused to apologise or resign over the Hill debacle. He said on this programme, "I am marching out now, and now I am marching in again." And following the Grand Old Duke of York's headline-making marching debacle, newsreader Peter Piperson read out the headlines. That's the headlines with me, Peter Piperson.
Now over to Dilly Dilly with the weather.
Thank you, John. And the long-range forecast is not good, I'm afraid. The north wind doth blow, and we shall have snow. Brr. So, if you're a robin, I'd sit in a barn, keep yourself warm, and hide your head under your wing. That's your weather from me, Dilly Dilly.
Thank you, Dilly Dilly.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Dilly Dilly.
Thank you, John.
Just stop it. Now, sport with Harry Parry. Harry.
Thank you, John.
Just get on with it.
The gingerbread man has been breaking world record after world record this season, and between his hectic schedule of running all over the countryside, I snatched an exclusive interview with Nurseryland's fastest biscuit.
So, Ginger, if I may, another win, another record. What message have you got for the competition?
Run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man.
Yes, it's this supreme confidence that's made you unpopular with some of the other athletes. You won easily against the old man and old lady, but you've got some tougher opposition ahead in the form of the pig. What do you say to him?
Run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man.
Same old Ginger. After the pig, you've got to take on the horse. Now, he's in a different league, surely. Any tips for him?
Run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man.
Gingerbread man, you are one tough cookie. Thank you very much, and we'll catch up with you later.
No, you won't.
Thanks to Harry Parry, and we're going straight back to Jim at the launch, and I'm going straight back to my Sudoku.
Well, John, incredible scenes here as we move into the dramatic final phase of the moon launch. The cow looking relaxed and confident, and among the huge crowd of spectators, I see a little dog laughing to see such fun, and a dish and a spoon enjoying the spectacle. It's all so historic, so momentous that it just makes you want to shout, "Hey, diddle, diddle!"
We'll have to leave Jim there, getting rather overexcited, sounding a bit like an overgrown schoolboy. News is coming in of an armed siege outside the Three Bears cottage. We're going over to Mary, our contrary correspondent. Mary, can you tell us what's going on?
No!
Oh.
What I can tell you, John, is that in the early hours of the afternoon, when the householders were out apparently taking a walk, though that may be a euphemism for the bears answering a call of nature in the woods, a juvenile offender broke into the cottage, stole a quantity of porridge, trashed the kitchen, breaking at least one stool, and is now in one of the family's beds asleep. Police have the house surrounded.
Come out, Goldilocks. We know you're in there. We don't want anyone to get hurt.
I'm speaking now to the Bear family. Mummy Bear, how did you feel when you discovered that your house had been broken into?
Violated and traumatised, to be honest. They've offered us all counselling, but it's not going to bring our porridge back, is it?
And Daddy Bear, how did you feel?
I'm angry. It's a real indictment of our times that you can't leave your door open and go for a walk in the woods.
Is that really what it was?
Whatever. Without some crazed girl with blonde ringlets stealing your breakfast cereal and breaking your furniture. And as for sleeping in Baby Bear's bed, what? Let's hope that's all she's done. Because we all know about what burglars do.
Baby Bear, how do you feel about your near-death experience? Was it terrifying? Could you cry? Now? Oh, hang on. There is some movement at the upstairs window.
Put the spoon down, Goldilocks, and no one will get hurt. Put the spoon down, now, now!
And that seems to be the end of the siege, John, and of Goldilocks.
A tragic outcome, Mary. What can we expect to happen now?
We can expect the coroner's report to confirm that Goldilocks died as a result of porridge poisoning. And yes, Inspector Plod has issued a statement saying that they would like to talk to 3 bears in connection with her manslaughter. Unfortunately, the bears in question have disappeared. Apparently, they've gone to have a walk in the woods.
Thank you, Mary. Now, thought for the day with Peter Rabbi. Peter, we could all do with a bit of cheering up. Tell me this isn't going to be one of your gloomy ones.
Hello, John. Hello, Jim, wherever you are. No, there's nothing gloomy about today's Thought for the Day, which is all about luck.
Good to hear.
A while ago, my friend Jeremy Fisher, who's a delightful old frog, went out fishing for some minnows for his supper. There he was, sitting on his lily leaf, wearing his mackintosh and galoshes, when all of a sudden, guess what happened? A great big trout leapt out of the water and gobbled him up.
Oh, no.
But as luck would have it, the trout didn't like the taste of Jeremy's mackintosh and spat him out onto the bank.
Phew.
And the only thing that Jeremy lost were his little pair of galoshes. And you know what the luckiest part of the story is? The very next day, he was caught by a French chef who cut off his legs and served them up with garlic. So Jeremy didn't need his galoshes at all. Wasn't that lucky?
Thank you, Peter Rabbi. That certainly put a smile back on my face. Now, let's get back once again to Jim Tweedledee at Mission Control. Jim, how historic and epoch-making is it now? More than last time?
Yes, John, it's getting very historic and epoch-making indeed. This is it, the momentous moment of moments that we've all been waiting for. Final checks all done, cow in A1 shape, moon conditions perfect. Let's hear the countdown.
9, 10, a big fat hen. 7, 8, lay them straight. 5, 6, pick up sticks. Cow beginning its run-up. 3, 4, knock at the door. Cow at maximum velocity. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. We have bovine liftoff. Looking good, cow.
There goes the cow soaring through the atmosphere, higher and higher above the clouds and into the inky wastes of deep space. Now the cow is over the moon, and so am I. This is amazing. We can hear now from the cow, his words beaming thousands of miles through the void and reverberating through history.
It's one small jump for a cow, but a giant leap for cow kind.
A small jump for a cow, but a giant leap for cow kind. What a moment in the history of leaping livestock. It's a privilege to be here, John. And you aren't.
Thanks, Jim. And let's hope all that excitement doesn't give you a massive heart attack. Now, with the time coming up to Never Never, here's consumer rights champion Hector Protector with news of this week's Hector Protector Investigates.
Hello, I'm Hector Protector. I'm here at the seaside, on the trail of a potentially huge commercial scam involving the sale of fake shells. A scam which threatens the entire tourist industry. I've been informed that the mastermind behind the bogus souvenir racket is a woman called Sheila who sells seashells by the seashore. I'm going to go over to her stall now. Sheila, I'm Hector Protector from Hector Protector Investigates. Don't run away. I just want to ask you some questions. Sheila, these shells you're selling, are they surely seashells?
Look, if I'm selling shells by the seashore, then the shells I'm selling are surely seashore shells.
So what you're asking us to believe is that the mere fact that you are selling seashells on the seashore means that the shells you are selling are seashore shells?
Sure. Now, if you have any other questions, you'll have to speak to my lawyer.
Join me, Hector Protector, on Radio 40 Winks next Tuesday at 7:30.
Just time to go back to Jim for a last chance to find out how momentously, epoch-makingly historic it all is now.
John, the mission has gone exactly to plan. The cow has completed a full lunar orbit and is now heading back to Earth. Scientists are delighted with the data that the cow has sent back. Apparently, the moon is, as they suspected all along, made of green cheese.
Okay, Cal, this is Mission Control. You're good to go for re-entry. Can you give us a status update?
Mooston, we have a problem.
Come in, Cal. Come in, Cal. Cal, can you read?
Dramatic scenes here, John. They've lost contact with the cow and, oh my God, there's a fiery ball running across the sky. Yes, it is confirmed the cow is burning up on re-entry and there's a smell of barbecuing meat. Oh, that's delicious. Has anyone got any relish? And maybe a beer.
Extraordinary scenes there from Mission Control, which must call into question the whole future of bovine space travel and indeed fat broadcasters going off on jollies at great expense to cover it. A very, very sad day indeed. So, just time to look at tomorrow's papers. The Nursery Times leads with St Ives bigamist jailed over 7 wives. The Daily Fairygraph has Munchkin protest as yellow brick motorway goes ahead. The Daily Mirror on the Wall goes for property slump as house that Jack built fails to get asking price. And the Twinkle Twinkle Daily Star has, would you believe, yet more naked pictures of Lady Godiva on her horse. So it's goodbye from me, John Tweedledum, in the studio, and goodbye from Jim Tweedledee in Mooston, stuffing his face with beer and cow meat.
Good night.
Shame he's not here to hit.
Sorry, your time is up.